Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Welcome to r/Am I the Butthole, your favourite sub, as well as mine. I've been searching far and wide for some of the best stories that I could find, and this first one, I really enjoyed. Though not so much enjoyed actually, as it gave me a bit of stuff to think about it. So I won't waste another second, and let's get straight into this first one by user/Pickwick Club. I, 27 female, and my boyfriend, 28 male, have been dating for almost 2 years. And sometimes we're talking about the future. He just graduated from a 3-year non-degree program and got his first job. His starting salary is only a third of my current salary. I was born in a poor family and had to rely on scholarship for my college. I worked hard my whole life to come out of that. I have 5 years of working experience in a pretty big blue chip company that pays me decent. I can afford a car, holidays overseas every year, weekend getaways almost every month, and still manage to save 60% of my salary. It's comfortable to live as a single with no mortgage, but it's tight for a family. So, on a date night, he asked me if I see our relationship lasting. I told him, sometimes I don't. I explained that I've been through poverty and I'm not interested to go through that again. I want to keep my current lifestyle. I made a rough calculation in front of him about how much money we would need to own a fancy house. At least 800 grand to 1 million USD here in my country. Save for future kids' education and manage a comfortable lifestyle. In the next year, I'll have my savings for 50% of a down payment for the house, and need my partner to cover the other 50%. I need him to earn at least the same as me. He was surprised with my answer. Then I asked him, do you have a timeline or strategy to go from your current salary to making this much money? He said he probably will never be able to, since he doesn't have a degree. Our country's stats say non-degree holders would not even reach my current salary after 20 years of working. I told him, get a degree, you can take an art class for 2 years, I'll wait. He told me he doesn't like studying. I offered to chip in for his study, even though his parents can help. He refused. He said, I'll work hard, after my office hours, I'll do a delivery job so I can earn more. At this point, I was very frustrated and said, then you wouldn't have time for our relationship. Or if we're married, you wouldn't have the time to be a husband or father. That delivery service isn't going to last forever. Drones will replace humans in the future. I closed the conversation with, I don't know if your finances is something that I can live with, or something that is a deal breaker. I love you, you know that. But I might hate you in the future because of this. I felt very bad. I know if the situation was reversed and I was the guy, I'd sound like a big butthole. But I really am scared to live with less again. I don't want my kids to suffer. I'd rather not have children if they have to suffer. But I love him. I do. He's very sweet and he's never raised his voice at me and supports my career. I'd marry him in a heartbeat if the future didn't look so bleak for us. He's been very quiet for the past few days. Not a silent treatment, but I feel there's something wrong with us after our last conversation. Am I the butthole for telling him all this? Am I wasting my time with him? And now guys, before you make a judgment, OP does add an update, which I think is quite substantial, so let's go through it. I had a glass-shattering moment when I read the replies. There are people calling me abusive, toxic, and saying that I only want him for his money. I know these words get thrown around easily, so I got a bit defensive and was writing my replies on the things I've done for him. 1. I paid for our dates. He spends 50% of his salary for his car and fishing. 2. I pay for his travels whenever he wants to join my business trip. I suspect this is also why he supports my career. 3. He was in huge debt when I first dated him. He owned 3 motorcycles and a car. So I had to make the payment plan. I told him which motorcycle to sell to pay for his debts and some other refinancing stuff. Now he owns 1 motorcycle, 1 car, and is debt-free. 4. I'm always the one who buys gifts. 5. I let him use my stuff all the time for his school. He could buy a laptop, but he bought fishing gear instead. Holy hell, he's been treating me like his sugar mummy. He doesn't even have a clue about finance at all. That's why he was so taken aback and he doesn't want things to change. My bad, I never once complained, and so he thinks it's okay. So yesterday, I had a talk with him again. I asked his plan about housing. He was the one who suggested that we get more serious. So his plan was that we move in with his parents in their house. What the F? While waiting for us to get our own apartment. I mean, I don't mind living with his parents, but they have to move in with me, under my house rules, not the other way around. So we broke up. If I were to marry him, I'll be the one taking care of the finances, housework, his parents, probably the kids too. Just no. What's he going to bring into our marriage then? I dated him because he was so fun to be around, and he's a kind man. The bar is quite low. And OP does add a little more stuff, but I don't think it's relevant, and I'm just finding this post quite weird. I'm finding it very hard to judge, because the first half seems very one-sided towards OP being the butthole, but then it just gets reversed, and OP's written in a way that it makes it seem like she's not the butthole. So I'm really not sure which part of it to believe, and this is what made me so interested in this post in the first place. Because judging by this first part, judging by how much OP's making, and if OP's significant other is really a nice man, I don't think they'll be living in poverty their whole life. Clearly, if he's willing to work more, he's finished some sort of degree, he's willing to work a night job, this man's going places. And I don't see this as a reason to break up with him. But if it really is like OP describes it in the second half, where he's been in massive debt, he just wants to go out fishing and all he cares about is cars, and he's just spending his money unwisely, well then I understand where OP's coming from, and I'd say, not the butthole, you're better off breaking up. But either way, I think butthole, not butthole aside, it's better if these two break up. Clearly, they're not on the same page with things like finances, which is actually a surprisingly crucial part of a relationship. I think it's something like the #1 cause of divorce in America, something crazy like that. So that's my 2 cents. Feel free to comment down below, guys, and I'll be curious to see what you say. And here's our next post by user/ChoiceRock. Also about money, but in a completely different way. I'm a 23-year-old male, and a few months ago, I was at a nice bar in Toronto with my boys. And I saw this really hot girl. Decided to shoot my shot, and we spoke and danced for a bit, and I offered to buy her a drink. And she gladly accompanied me to the bar. When I got there, I was like, can I have a beer and whatever she wants? She promptly says, can I get 4 double shots of 1942? That's like $75 a shot for a double of 1942. And I was like, what the F? And she said, there, for her friends, and patted me on the back. When the bartender came back, I slapped a $10 bill on the table and told him she'd be covering the shots and walked away. She was pretty mad and yelling the normal insults. Well, it turns out my mum works with her, and they were talking, and my mum showed her a picture of me. God damn it, mum. And she instantly recognized me, and remembered my name, and told my mum about what I did. My mum then called me and said I'm a huge butthole, and told me to send her the cost of the 4 drinks, which was like $325 with tips. I just laughed and told my mum I'm not doing that. And my mum said that the girl thinks I'm a huge butthole and a jerk, and she agrees. Am I the butthole? And you know, it sounded so bad. Up until the cost of the drinks. $300 for 4 shots. Wow. I mean, it looks like this girl's just used to getting what she wants, and you didn't give it to her, OP. I say, not the butthole. She knew what she was signing herself up for, and she knew that plan could backfire, so she just finally met someone who wasn't going to take it. And here's our next post by user/awfulsister, Am I the Butthole? So, my wife is paraplegic. She was when I first met her. It's from an accident a long time ago. But she's adapted to it well. I love her, and she's just as useful, in quotes, as someone who can walk. My sister, for some reason, has never liked my wife. She's always had some sort of problem with her, whether she claims it's attitude or something else. I've talked to my wife about it, and she doesn't know why. And I've talked to my sister about it, and she's never given me a straight answer on why she doesn't like her. I just accepted it until now. Not everybody likes everyone else. And until now, my sister hadn't said anything rude about it. Now, my sister was a prostitute in college. And she claims she's just camming now. She doesn't have a job, she does that. She told me because I found out accidentally once. She made me hide it from our family and claims she has a job at a company near us. I was talking to my sister on the phone last week because she wanted me to fix her sink or at least look at it, because her landlord wasn't doing anything about it. I told her that I didn't know when I could because I've been remodeling one of our bathrooms, which has turned into a larger project than I originally bargained for. I might end up just hiring someone to do it honestly. Oh no, sorry butting in again. Quarantine remodels, biting off more than you can chew. At least all the tradies and contractors will be happy when they can get back to work. My sister then, for no reason, made a comment about my wife. She said, "Why don't you just have her make herself useful and help? Oh wait, she can't because of her disability." She said this mockingly, as if being in a wheelchair isn't a disability. I had the phone on loudspeaker and my wife heard. She was pretty hurt by it, and I was beyond mad. I yelled at her and hung up. After consoling my wife a little bit, I decided to call our parents and tell them what my sister actually does for her job. They thanked me for letting them know, and that was that. Then my sister called me again and yelled at me, saying our whole family is calling her and telling her to stop, and staging an intervention for her. I told her that she should have thought about that before being a jerk to my wife, and hung up. It's been a few days, and now I'm thinking I went a little nuclear on her. At the time, I felt like yelling at her wasn't enough, but now I think maybe yelling would have been enough. Am I the butthole? Yeah, look, I haven't seen one of these in a good long while. One of these eye for an eye situations where one person does something bad and the other just retaliates. To me, this one is an everyone sucks here post. You can think whatever you want, you can say whatever you want, but to me, they're both being rude to each other, so everyone sucks. And here's our next post by user/Jimothy as your uncle. And once again, this is a post that's been going around on Reddit for quite a while. It was popular with some of the bigger YouTubers, but I'll go through it anything because it's good fun and in case you haven't seen it. I'll try to keep this short. I had a 1967 Impala 4-door that I bought in Feb of 2019. A couple of months ago, I bought my first house that had a 2.5 car garage. I moved the car in and started tearing it down for a complete restoration. I had the body in one bay and the chassis in another, plus the whole garage filled with parts. About 2 months ago, my girlfriend came to live with me during this whole crisis, and the whole time, she's hated that car. She wants to park in the garage, but I have 2 acres of land with a lot of nice places to park under shady trees, or hell, even in the barn if it has to be inside. I tell her, tough luck, it's my house, and it's not like I can just throw it back together real quick. Anyways, I was out of town for a couple of days on a business trip for the small local company I work for. When I got back, my girlfriend was all smiles. Making me food all the time, doing all the chores, all that. I thought maybe she was just happy to have me home. But then I realized that I didn't see her car in its usual spot. I asked her where she parked it so I could make sure that I mow the area and keep it clean. And she said not to worry, because she parked in the garage. I asked how, and she told me to go check it out. Turns out that while I was gone, she'd hired some people to come over and move everything related to that car, including the drivetrain, body, and chassis, and all parts, and take it to the local dump/scrapyard. I was absolutely dumbfounded. I had spent over $11,000 on that car, including new parts, services, and the car itself. I told her that I was going to be taking her to court for that, and she brushed me off like I was being dramatic. I told her that it's done between us, and pack her things and leave. I admit I was really angry, but I did end up getting a lawyer. And as I have all the receipts for that money spent, and I have her on my house's security cam footage, letting the guys in and watching them take it all, I think I can win. Her family and friends are absolutely blowing me up, saying it's just a stupid old piece of junk, and that she cannot pay back all that money I spent, and that I should just let it go. But I've been putting all my time, effort, and money into that car for 1.5 years now, and god damn it if I'm not going to get justice for what she did. Am I the butthole? And OP does attach some interesting edits, so we'll go through those in a second. But first of all, not the butthole OP. What is it on Reddit with relationships where people just cannot trust each other? How is it that you leave for a few days and your girlfriend gets rid of your car? That's not a relationship I can see working in any world. And now, onto these edits. Thank you all so much for the support and awards and everything. I'm glad I have some people on my side. I got a call from her mom about 20 minutes ago, and she told me that I was ruining her daughter's life over a stupid car. I told her she ruined her own life. I've been gathering documentation and stuff, and I'm about to head down to the police station and file a report, as suggested by lots here. Once again, thank you all. Went to the police station last night, was told to come back in the morning. Just got back and filed an official report against her for grand larceny and grand theft auto. I showed them all the receipts I had for the car and footage of her letting the guys come and take it, as well as the title for my vehicle in my name. They said they'll be in contact with all three parties. Me, ex-girlfriend, and junkyard guys. And they'll hopefully be able to recover some or all of the car. Just have to wait now. And a huge update! They found my goddamn car. The junkyard guys apparently were in the middle of hiding it when the police came to ask them questions. It was in a forklift and they were going to put it on top of a pile of cars that was hidden behind more piles of cars. They said it was theirs and they had the title, but obviously didn't have the title for it. And since they matched the VIN on the chassis and body to the VIN on my title, it was obviously mine. I know at least one person there has been arrested. I think he was in the camera footage I talked about earlier, but I don't know if it was the boss or whoever or even his specific charge. They also told me they'd be looking into the specific junkyard for any other vehicles reported stolen. They said they haven't been able to get in contact with my ex just yet, but they're working on it. I'm just so glad they found my car. Luckily, I made quite an album of pictures detailing me tearing down the car, and so I can use that to prove what parts they had were mine, so I can hopefully get most or all of it back. Police haven't let me take it back home yet, as they say it's evidence or something, so hopefully I can get it back eventually. Thank you all so much for the support and advice. She's gonna be alright. And I can only assume by she, OP, you mean the car. I mean, it's funny that they found her. It looks like there's some really shady activity going on here. And who knew that all this could lead to a whole police report and whatnot? But, I mean, I'm happy for you, OP. Looks like you also dodged a bit of a bullet there with your girlfriend, so I guess all's well that ends well. But I think this post will be the last one for today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel for Reddit videos 3 times every single week. But with that said, that is it from me. I hope you all enjoyed, and all I want to do is see you all here next time. See you later, guys.